Wildfire has always been a part of Northern Colorado's landscape. So why now do we face such extreme and severe fires? Over thousands of years, Colorado's forests became adapted to frequent, low-intensity fire. These fires cleared away excessive growth and returned nutrients to the soil. But as the West was settled, a conflicting view of wildfires emerged. The prevailing mindset of decision makers across federal, state, and local governments, as well as that of landowners, was to suppress all fire to protect homes and forest resources. Although this was done largely with good intent, we are now facing the long-term consequences of having removed fire from the landscape. Our forests have grown so dense with so much fuel that often once a wildfire starts, the only thing we can do is try to slow the spread. This means landowners in the Wildland Urban Interface must now live with uncertainty and risk of wildfire, and consequently, these same landowners must be involved in efforts to reduce this risk. The best tool we have to reduce wildfire risk and return our forests to a more resilient state is the same tool which we have suppressed and feared for the last century: fire. But with a complex matrix of land ownership, the only workable approach moving forward is an all-hands-on-deck one where everyone adds their piece to the puzzle to reduce fire risk across the landscape. Generally, pile burning of woody material is the most accessible way to bring controlled fire back to the landscape and reduce fuels. Yet many are still hesitant to use fire on their lands, and they may lack the ability, willingness, or training to comfortably utilize pile burning in reducing their fire risk. Organizations like the U.S. Forest Service and the Ember Alliance frequently and safely conduct large-scale pile burning operations to reduce fuels. If done within proper weather conditions, the risk to property from igniting a pile is much lower than the risk posed by a future severe wildfire. While pile construction and burning is not a complicated process, there is room for error. And that is why training on pile construction and burning is highly recommended for all landowners living within the Wildland Urban Interface. The Colorado Division of Fire Prevention and Control offers a state-certified burner program. This training is a low-cost 2-day class. The training program provides participants with the knowledge and tools they need to be a safe and educated pile builder and burner. Here are a few basic tips we can share right now that this training will build on. When thinking about pile construction, you should build it pyramid shape. Tall and narrow generally gets much better fuel consumption than wide and flat. Create a good bed of fine fuels and needles at the bottom and center of the pile. Think of it as a big campfire. You always want to start a campfire with kindling at the base. Piles should be 6 feet in diameter and 6 feet tall. As piles cure or dry out, they will shrink to about 2/3 of their original size. So a 9 by 9 constructed pile will shrink to roughly 6 by 6. Pile location is also a key consideration. Piles should be built in an opening at least 15 to 20 feet away from the nearest tree or dense vegetation. Assume that any pile will create a flame 2 to 3 times its own height. For example, a pile that is 6 feet tall can create an 18-foot long flame column. Now imagine that flame being bent over by the wind. This creates the need for the pile to generally be at least 15 to 20 feet away from the closest tree. Lastly, you should always know when you can burn piles. Prior to burning piles, you must acquire a burn permit from your county, and conditions for burning vary county by county. In Larimer County, the open burn period for elevations 6,000 feet and over is from October 1st through May 1st and can only be completed when there is at least 3 inches of snow on the ground and winds do not exceed 10 miles per hour. Check your own county's regulations, as this burn period may change depending on your location. For permitting information and specific regulations for your county, Google burn permit followed by the name of your county. With the state-certified burner program, you will be a more confident pile burner, but there are additional resources for landowners as well. Local organizations like the Colorado State Forest Service can help landowners develop treatment plans, and your local watershed organization can utilize grant funding to partner with landowners to help treat their lands. To truly reduce the risk of wildfire and return our forests to a healthier state will require collaborative and ongoing work. Please join us in being part of the solution. When new DFPC certified burner classes are announced, registration can be found here.